first learned that stripped Kabuto was a diecast that existed several years after Tokyo Mater came out. Back before I ran a YouTube channel, I didn't know about every Cars diecast ever made. I was finding out about new ones all the time from watching and checking out different stuff. And I was genuinely, absolutely shocked when I was watching a review on different Tokyo Mater diecasts, and the reviewer pulled out stripped Kabuto and revealed to me that, yeah, back in 2010, they made a variant of Kabuto that was him with all of his modifications off. I'd had the original Kabuto since he first came out in 2010, and immediately fell in love with this variant of the character. Not only did I think it was super cool for us to get such an obscure variant based on what's pretty much a brief gag at the end of the short showing Kabuto after all of his parts have been removed, I also just thought it was so cool that we got a diecast of what Kabuto looked like without everything on him. This is a variant of this character. These are the exact same guy. And I just was so in awe that they did this. And ever since I first saw it in that video all those years ago, I've really wanted to get my hands on this diecast so that I could compare him to my regular Kabuto and see what Kabuto really looks like with all of his parts off. And in turn, what Boost looks like with all of his parts off, since Kabuto and Boost use the exact same car mold. It's so cool to me to see that there's a diecast out there of these iconic, heavily modified characters without all those modifications, and I'm so excited to finally add stripped Kabuto to my collection. He's been on my radar for a long time, but he's been a bit too expensive for me. That was until Eduardo Aguero over on my Discord server sent me a link to a really good deal on stripped Kabuto, and now I finally have this item after all these years. Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another review, and to another Cars Toon diecast review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at stripped Kabuto, who I'm so excited to finally have here. I can't believe it. This is one of those super surreal moments for me where I just can't believe that I finally added a car that I've wanted for so long to my collection. I cannot wait to take a look at this guy, especially compare him to Kabuto with all the modifications. I'm sure we're all well acquainted with the Tokyo Mater card back right now. Custom paint job. Wow! Down here, of course, we have a screenshot of Kabuto from the short. And the funny thing is, this is a diecast with an insanely screen-accurate facial expression. After Kabuto is in shock in the short here, he starts to cry, and it looks identical to this. And I think it's kind of a shame that they used this face of him being shocked instead of the one that was, you know, that the diecast's face was based on, since it is a very accurate face. But hey, it's fine. You do kind of have the two stages of his face in that scene on the packaging here instead. He was number 34 in the series. Tokyo Mater logo over there. Moving on to the back, we have the Tokyo Mater description. Mater says, he used to be an import car. He and Lightning McQueen battled ninjas during a midnight drift race through Tokyo. Is it a true story or a tall tale? Find out in the Fast and Furious short film Tokyo Mater. And then the little Disney web address. On the back, we got Collect Them All with Drift Party Mater, Kaorisu, Strip Kabuto, Dragon McQueen, and Kayandi. Several of these items have returned in the current Cars Toon line. Kaorisu is not too rare, at least he wasn't when I got him, but that was a few years ago now. Strip Kabuto is probably the most expensive item there, and you can see a interesting look at his prototype image. So now, let's, of course, pop this guy out of the package. I cannot believe finally got stripped Kabuto. Alright. Okay. Here he is, folks. The one and only. Hold on. The one and only stripped Kabuto. Alright. I really hate these 2010 bubbles since they were all one plastic piece, and it's very hard to get the cars out of them sometimes, compared to what they would do later on, where they would, of course, split the bubble into two pieces. These can be an absolute pain. That's why it took me so long to open them. So here is stripped Kabuto out of the package. Oh, look at him! Oh, wow. All right, yeah, like I said, insanely screen accurate face there. Look at that. I am very impressed. Oh, he looks so sad. He has a very interesting paint scheme. It's almost kind of like a tealish, like purplish color, I guess. And the first thing I'll say is that he looks a bit longer than I thought he would be. Now I think we got to bring in the regular Kabuto for comparison. Are these two the same length? Yeah, obviously they're not the exact same model because Kabuto has all those modifications. So how do they stack up? How do they compare? As you can see, Strip Kabuto is differently shaped in several different ways and several different places, but the height and the length are pretty much consistent, which does make perfect sense there. His windshield has a much wider area, which also makes sense because he has sort of this shade over the top half of his windshield, so makes sense that Strip Kabuto has more space. These lines on him are far more defined on Stripped Kabuto, and this part in the middle is no longer there. Of course, all the carbon fiber on him is gone. Headlights are looking pretty similar, although they do look a bit more standard here on this variant, and the rear view mirrors are pretty much the same. Once again, absolutely love this face. I didn't realize the mouth was a little open. That honestly makes it even better. He looks so nervous, and he looks so sad, and he looks very, very, very accurate to the short, of course. Moving on to the side, we have these very interesting wheels with these hubcaps with all these little points on them. A far cry from the very hardcore looking Ninja Star hubcaps on regular Kabuto. And again, you can continue to see some similarities and some differences. The windows are pretty much identical. Kabuto's has a black outline. Strip Kabuto's doesn't, but they're the same shape, complete with this little part behind them. Something that I noticed in the package is just how different the doors are on these two. The doors are definitely not the same shape, as you can see. A bit more rounded here on regular Kabuto and a bit more angular on Stripped Kabuto. And what really confused me when I first saw it was this stripe that's on Kabuto's side here. You could also see it there on his artwork, on his screenshot from the short. But this stripe that stretches all the way across Stripped Kabuto's side is nowhere to be found on regular Kabuto. And I guess you could say, oh, maybe the carbon fiber covers it up, but it definitely doesn't. It's definitely a bit above the carbon fiber. So this is a place where these two are almost completely different. So it looks like not only does he have a different door with his modifications, his whole side is just completely different. You can see, of course, there's the carbon fiber all over, but also these two little vents that would be around here. That makes sense. Obviously, that's not really a thing that regular cars have. That's definitely a modification, but it just seems like his entire side, all the panels there were completely redone when he was modified, since again that stripe is completely missing. And the same is true for Boost. Remember, when we're looking at naked Kabuto here, you're basically also looking at naked Boost. This is what Boost would look like if he didn't have all this stuff on him. Please ignore the fact that that's impound Boost. It's the first one I grabbed before filming. But yeah, this is what Boost would look like without all this stuff. And honestly, it's so weird to see. I gotta use this in like Cars Adventures someday, honestly. I need to do some sort of ridiculous episode where all of Boost's pieces are gone for whatever reason. Yeah, this is so strange to see, and it just makes me morbidly curious to know what the rest of the tuners would look like. You know, interestingly, you can see there's a pretty big gap here between the door and the rest of the side. That's something that's far more present on Boost than it is on the regular variant of Kabuto, as you can see. Yeah, this part does jut out a bit, but yeah, it feels to me like it's a lot more prominent on Stripped Kabuto and Boost than it is that original Kabuto diecast. Moving on to the back, we've got the window there. Both Boost and Kabuto have their back windows completely covered by Entubbo Cola in the case of Boost, and non-disclosed miscellaneous Boost tanks in the case of Kabuto. You can see that the backs are pretty similar. It's really kind of trippy to see the back, especially because you can see all the pieces on Kabuto and Boost are there on Strip Kabuto. All the shaping, this little part that's kind of the outline, the area where the license plate is, and those taillights all the exact same. You even have the one singular exhaust pipe that regular Kabuto has. It's all hyped up there, and here it's just a tiny little exhaust pipe. That's probably my favorite thing about this. I love that the exhaust is the exact same. It's just absolutely tiny, which shows you just how much Kabuto modified himself. He also still doesn't have a license plate, which is interesting. I feel like maybe they should have given him one, since he's kind of like a regular civilian now, and you know, maybe he should have that license plate, which he may have removed so we could do kind of illegal street racing. There is a look at the other side, pretty identical to the side we already saw. And finally, there is a look at the base. I'm honestly pretty impressed with just how consistent these two items are. Over the years, when I'd seen pictures of it online, it felt to me like stripped Kabuto didn't really look all that much like Kabuto, but now that I've seen them in person, I can confidently say that it's really impressive just how similar these two are. Obviously, there are changes, and it's not really a direct adaptation in a lot of ways. There are ways that the molds could be more consistent, but hey, it does look like Kabuto without all of his parts. It's just kind of hard to recognize that because Kabuto is so souped up. You kind of have to look closely to see all those little similarities. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. This has been Strooped Kabuto. I'm super excited to have him in my collection. Let me know what you think about this item in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.